Pittsburgh Steelers will play the Los Angeles Chargers in their home opener here in week 3 of the NFL season here. Two teams here that are starting the season 2-0. One of these two teams is going to be sitting at 3-0 to start their 2024 campaign. Which team is it going to be? You're going to have to stick around for my score prediction at the end of today's Steelers Talk preview. But before we get into keys to victory, key players for the Chargers, what the Chargers like to do schematically, a full breakdown of this Week 3 matchup, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now for our live watch party. We're going to be going live at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, all right, where we're going to have an hour of pregame, full play-by-play live on the show, and then, of course, post-game coverage as well. So we have the largest Steelers watch parties on the YouTube platform. Over 100,000 people tend to watch our show every single week. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now to join the largest Steelers live community here on the YouTube platform. So let's get into this matchup, man. A battle of 2-0 teams that maybe a lot of people didn't expect to be 2-0 at this point. Now, the Chargers have played two really bad teams, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Carolina Panthers, who, by the way, just benched their starting quarterback in Bryce Young after 2 games. That's how bad that team is playing right now. So maybe the Chargers are a little bit fluky, but they are a 2-0 team. They have played very well through their first 2 games under Jim Harbaugh, their new head coach. Of course, he's coming fresh off a national championship season with the Michigan Wolverines, coming over to the Chargers here. Now, the offensive scheme is a modern pro spread offense run by Greg Roman. He's been with the Harbaughs for a long time, going back to the 49ers, and then he went over to the Ravens with John Harbaugh. So, the Steelers are familiar with this offensive scheme, all right? It's really, really well done in the running game, but the passing game leaves something to be desired, at least in my opinion. Then we get to the defensive scheme here, and Jesse Minter, their defensive play caller, he's going to run a variation of the Mike McDonald 3-4 defense that we saw from Baltimore last year. And now, of course, Mike McDonald had so much success with Baltimore's defense last year, his best defense in football, that he goes on to be the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. So this is a defense here that has played very well through the first 2 games. Now, obviously, you play 2 of arguably the worst offenses in the league in Carolina and Las Vegas. We'll start with this Raiders game here in Week 1 where they won 22-10. Offense kind of took a while to get going. This was a 1-possession game in the 4th quarter, all right? So I know it's a double-digit victory in the final box score here, but at the end, the Raiders almost came away with the win in this one, guys, and that's with Gardner Minshew, no run game whatsoever. Really does seem like the Chargers it took them a little bit there to get something going offensively. Then last week, it was just a complete mowdown of the Panthers, who have just been so bad to start this season. Justin Herbert was efficient, 2 touchdowns, but he did throw an interception, and J.K. Dobbins had over 130 yards rushing in that one. So 2 games there against 2 bad opponents. So maybe this is a bit fluky here for this Chargers team, but you take a look at the offensive pieces here, man. Justin Herbert is a bona fide top 10 quarterback in football. We'll talk about him in my scouting report later. J.K. Dobbins, I mean, the Steelers are familiar with him with his time in Baltimore. He seems to be back fully healthy, and he's been really good to start this season. They got a really good tackle duo in Rashawn Slater, one of the best left tackles in football, and Joe Alt, a top 5 pick in the NFL draft this year, who has just been unbelievable to start his career. Then Quentin Johnson has 2 touchdowns, got 2 touchdowns last week, and then Ladd McConkey is a receiver that I'm very high on that they drafted this year. And I'm going to be keeping my eye on Ladd McConkey in this one because I'm pretty sure Joey Porter Jr. can take away Quentin Johnson pretty easily. But my problem and my issue here is going to be, can Ladd McConkey just toast Beanie Bishop Jr. in the slot? I think he can, which is why I think the Steelers might do a lot of 3 safety packages in this game, get Deshaun Elliott on Ladd McConkey, but McConkey is shifty. He's very good from the slot, really, really good route runner. You got to keep your eye on Ladd McConkey in this matchup. Then on the defensive side of the ball, their key defensive pieces, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, really, really good edge rusher duo. I make no mistake, Khalil Mack isn't necessarily what he was in his prime, but he's still a very good player. Derwin James, their strong safety, is an excellent player as well. Christian Fulton has had a very good start as their number 1 corner to start this year. Then Elijah Molden, their free safety, maybe not a name that most people know, but he is the number 1 graded safety according to Pro Football Focus grading to this point. He's had an excellent start to his 2024 campaign. And what you need to expect from this Los Angeles Chargers team is that you're going to get physicality, all right? This is going to be very much a physical football team on both sides of the ball. They're going to try to ground and pound. Honestly, this Chargers team reminds me a lot of the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they try to establish the run, they try to play good defense, and they hope that their quarterback makes enough plays to win them the football game. So this is a very, very interesting matchup here of two very similar football teams that I can't wait to watch on Sunday this weekend. So still to come here on the Steelers Talk Preview, keys to victory versus the Los Angeles Chargers. We'll get into that. I have, I believe, 8 of them today. Then we'll get into Justin Herbert's scouting report. I'll let you guys know the pros and cons with his game, what the Steelers need to do to slow him down. Then we'll go into my official Week 3 score prediction. Will the Steelers get to 3-0? I'll give you guys my answer at the end of today's show. But before we get into all of that, let's have word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks, which is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps on your phone, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you have to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and then watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become a part of the Prize Picks community today. Just one Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks for every week in the month of September. That's right, only 1 passing yard from Caleb Williams gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. That means 4 weeks of free W's, but now that just means 2 weeks because you've already missed the first 2 weeks. Don't miss this deal on Prize Picks because once September ends, it is gone. Also, Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Here is my projection here. Heading into Monday Night Football tonight, I did take the more on Caleb Williams passing yards, so that's gonna be an obvious hit there. Then we got Jalen Hurts taking the more on passing yards and taking the more on Drake London receiving yards tonight. Eagles versus Falcons. You guys can get your picks in right now. If you haven't already, download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. So it's 6 keys to victory here, not 8, but like I said earlier. But the first one here is they got to light up Justin Herbert. Okay, and this is something that the Steelers have done extremely well to start this season. They faced Kirk Cousins and Bo Nix, and they have done a fantastic job getting pressure on the quarterback and quick pressure, really forcing mistakes, forcing inaccurate passes. This pass rush is the best in football, in my opinion. But this week, man, they're facing a good offensive line, and they're facing a damn good quarterback here in Justin Herbert, man. Excellent size, 6'6", 236 pounds. He looks the part of an NFL franchise quarterback through and through. The arm strength is arguably the best in football right now. Like, this guy can just make throws that most people can't even dream of making. The playmaking outside of the pocket is really good as well. And then he's also a plus athlete. He's not necessarily a guy you're going to design a quarterback run game for, but he's somebody that can scamper for extra yardage if nothing is there, so you have to keep an eye on him. The cons are the pocket presence. I do think his footwork can get maybe a little bit choppy at times. It's not always the cleanest in the world, and he doesn't always feel pressure the best, which works in the Steelers' favor, getting some sacks and potentially some strip sack fumbles. I do think he's a top 10 starting quarterback in the National Football League, but the biggest weakness of this Chargers offense is the lack of passing game creativity from offensive coordinator Greg Roman. And he has never really been able to design a proper passing attack in the National Football League. He's known as one of the best run game coordinators in the league, and he absolutely is that, but he's had a lot of trouble with cover zero throughout his time as an offensive play caller. He doesn't do a really good job timing up concepts for his quarterbacks. He makes things very difficult on his QB, which is one of the reasons why he was fired in Baltimore, and Todd Monken, their new Ravens OC, immediately made that offense better for Lamar Jackson. So what I would do is I would do what Brian Flores, a former Steelers coach here, did against the Ravens when Greg Roman was still the OC there for the Ravens, and just blitz the hell out of him. Give him that cover zero look that he runs in Minnesota all the time, where everybody's playing back, so they have the leverage, but they're putting everybody at the line of scrimmage, and they're forcing them to make a play. And they're forcing Greg Roman to give Justin Herbert answers against the cover zero blitz, because throughout his career, he hasn't been able to do that. So if I am the Steelers, I'm pulling out those files from the Brian Flores era where he brought his cover zero stuff, and I would bring those to the forefront in this football game here, put pressure on Justin Herbert, and light him up. Another key to victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers this week is to contain the run. Just like the Steelers, the Chargers offense really wants to get the run game going. And that starts with J.K. Dobbins, their running back, who has been unbelievable to start this season. Over 13 yards a carry for this guy to start his 2024 campaign. He has 2 touchdowns. He really had a fantastic game, both against the Raiders and also against the Panthers. He's been unbelievable to start this year. He is a little bit injury prone, but when he's on the field, he is a legitimate number 1 running back in this league, and he is running behind a very, very good Chargers offensive line. Any Harbaugh team, they're going to be built in the trenches. They're going to want to play physical. They're going to want to run the football, and this is an offensive line that fits Harbaugh's philosophy. Rashawn Slater's awesome. Zion Johnson is a really good guard, in my opinion. Bradley Bozeman, not quite as good, but when you're surrounded by 2 good guards like the Chargers have, you're going to be just fine. And Joe Alt, I cannot wait to see that matchup between T.J. Watt, the best pass rusher on the planet Earth today, versus Joe Alt, somebody that's going to be one of the best tackles in this league for a very long time. Now, I'm going to give the advantage to Watt in this matchup because Alt is so young. He is still learning, and he has not faced a guy like T.J. Watt in his life, and he's going to learn on Sunday. But, man, I cannot wait to see that matchup unfold this week when these 2 juggernauts collide this week. Then we get to the other side here and another big matchup for this football game, and that's Joey Bosa, the Chargers' number 1 edge rusher, who is awesome in his own right. He is a legit number 1 edge rusher, and he's going to be going up against another rookie tackle, all right? So on both sides of the ball here, you're going to have a rookie right tackle going up against a veteran number 1 edge rusher. So will Troy Fautano hold up against Joey Bosa? That's going to be a big question in this football game. I can't wait to see if Troy can hold up after giving up no pressures in week 2. Then we get to the 4th key to victory here, and that's to feed George Pickens. Okay, I think the Chargers have good corners. I don't think they have a true lockdown number 1, which tells me George is going to have his opportunities to make big plays happen here. He's going to be going up against, most of the time, their number 1 corner, Christian Fulton. And I think Fulton's played well to this point, but he hasn't seen anybody like George Pickens to this point. Let's be completely honest with you. He's seen Devontae Adams, sure, but nobody on the Raiders can get him the football, okay? I think Justin Fields is capable of getting the ball to George Pickens, and I just think this is going to be a tough day for Christian Fulton, who's had a really good start to his 2024 campaign. 5th key to victory here. You got to win the turnover battle because I do think this one's going to be tight, all right? So a turnover, multiple turnovers from Justin Fields could really sink the Steelers' hopes of winning this football game. If you win the turnover battle, that's going to give this team an advantage. That's something that's a must this week, in my opinion. Then the final key to victory, you have to make, quote-unquote, the play in the 4th quarter. Now, what I mean by that is whether that's a big turnover, whether that's a big sack in a big moment, whether that's a big touchdown drive. You got to make the play in the 4th quarter to come away with the victory. And, you know, there's a bunch of different ways you can do this, but the Steelers are really, really good at finding a way to make the play in the final frame of an NFL football game. It's why they've won so many games under Mike Tomlin in his tenure, is because he's so good at getting this team to play well when they need it most, and I expect them to do that in this one and in many games this season as well. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already, if you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to win versus the Los Angeles Chargers here in Week 3 and improve to 3-0 to start their 2024 campaign. Now, where I'm going to go here, and I think this could go either way, but I'm going to go with the Chargers, okay? I'm going to go Chargers 21-20. I think it's going to be a very physical football game. And, you know, I do think the Steelers can win this, but I think that the Chargers with Justin Herbert versus the Steelers with Justin Fields, I like the quarterback situation there with Herbert and the Chargers just a bit more than what the Steelers have with Justin Fields. I think J.K. Dobbins is doing a really good job. I think that, you know, the Steelers feel pretty good about where they're at. And honestly, this could go either way. You know, these two teams are so similar, and it's going to come down to who makes that big play in the 4th quarter. But at the end of the day, this is a quarterback league, and if the quarterback is responsible for making that big play in the 4th quarter, I trust Justin Herbert just a little bit more than I trust Justin Fields. So it's your turn. Let me know down there in the comments section. Predict the score of Steelers versus Chargers down there in the comments section. I got 21-20 Chargers. This prediction might change before game time once we get to Sunday. I mean, I think that this matchup is so close and highly contested that I might even change my prediction every single day this week. We'll see. But where I'm at right now, 21-20, Chargers win. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We got in-depth previews like this every single week here on Steelers Talk, breaking down every single opponent, getting you guys ready for that week's Steelers game. I appreciate your guys' support. Click that subscribe button to never miss a video. And until next time, here we go, Steelers.